The studio is full of people, every seat taken. Bright stage lights shine down, making everything glow like a movie set. The audience is buzzing with excitement, whispering to one another while holding up colorful signs. Some signs stand out with bold letters that read, "Keanu, you are our hero," and "Thank you for being you." Behind the scenes, cameras roll and crew members move quickly, checking their equipment. A large screen flashes a countdown, signaling that the show is about to begin. The stage backdrop shimmers under the lights, creating a magical, almost dreamlike atmosphere. Then he appears. Keanu Reeves walks onto the stage with slow, steady steps. He doesn't rush, doesn't try to make a grand entrance. He is calm, collected, and comfortable in his own skin. Unlike most Hollywood stars, he doesn't wear a flashy suit or expensive jewelry. Instead, he wears a plain black shirt, a simple blazer, and well-worn jeans. His dark hair falls slightly over his shoulders, giving him a relaxed look. A gentle, almost shy smile rests on his lips. The moment he steps onto the stage, the audience erupts in cheers. Some people call out his name, while others simply watch, their eyes filled with admiration. There is something about him, something different from other celebrities. He doesn't act superior, and he doesn't crave attention. Instead, he carries a kindness that makes people feel at ease. Keanu raises a hand in gratitude, acknowledging the crowd with a small wave before taking his seat at the center of the stage. He moves effortlessly, settling into the chair with ease. The air in the room hums with excitement, but also with a deep sense of respect. Across from Keanu sits Celeste Monroe. She is a well-known journalist, famous for her sharp, no-nonsense interviews. People tune into her show to watch her challenge celebrities, often catching them off guard with her tough questions. Many admire her for her fearless attitude, while others criticize her for being too harsh. Celeste sits with perfect posture, dressed in a tailored blazer that fits her like a second skin. Her dark hair is pulled back into a sleek style, not a single strand out of place. In her hands, she holds a neat stack of question cards, gripping them tightly as if ready to strike. Her eyes lock onto Keanu, studying him like a puzzle she is determined to solve. She leans forward slightly, her lips curving into a confident, almost playful smile. Her voice is steady and controlled as she speaks. "Keanu, you are famous and wealthy. You could live like a king. You could have the biggest house, the most expensive cars, and private jets. But instead, you take the subway, give away millions, and live so simply. Do you really think that makes a difference in the world?" The room falls silent. Some audience members shift in their seats, uncomfortable with her direct approach. Others watch closely, eager to hear how Keanu will respond. But Keanu remains completely calm. He doesn't flinch, doesn't show any sign of irritation. Instead, he thinks for a moment, his expression thoughtful. Then he looks directly at Celeste and offers a soft, sincere smile. "Celeste, have you ever thought about how many people feel invisible every day?" A hush falls over the studio. The question is unexpected. The audience stops whispering, some people exchanging glances, others folding their hands in their laps, reflecting on his words. Celeste raises an eyebrow, clearly surprised. She expected Keanu to get defensive, maybe even stumble over his words. But instead, he turned the question around in a way that made her think. Still, she is not ready to back down. She flips to the next card, tapping it against the table. Her sharp eyes glimmer with determination. She has something bigger planned, a question that will go deeper, one that she believes will finally make Keanu lose his composure. The studio, once filled with energy and excitement, now holds a strange, quiet tension. Keanu's response has left an impact, and people are still processing it. Some audience members glance at one another, while others sit perfectly still, their eyes locked on him. But Celeste isn't finished. She crosses her legs, adjusting her posture with careful elegance. A small, almost playful smile remains on her lips, but her eyes hold something sharper, something almost ruthless. She lets the silence stretch for a few more seconds before she casually tosses the next question card onto the table. Then, without hesitation, she speaks. "Keanu, you lost your fiancé. You lost your baby. You lost your best friend. Didn't that destroy you? Don't you feel like, in the end, everything is just pain?" The reaction from the audience is immediate. Some people gasp. A few cover their mouths, shocked by the bluntness of her words. Others frown, uncomfortable with how cold and harsh her question sounds. Keanu lowers his head slightly. His hands rest together on his lap. A heavy silence fills the studio. The cameras zoom in on his face, capturing the way his normally peaceful eyes now hold something deeper, something that cannot be put into words. Celeste watches closely, waiting for him to hesitate, to falter. She expects to see a flicker of vulnerability that she can seize upon. But then Keanu lifts his head. He takes a deep breath. When he speaks, his voice is steady, calm, full of quiet strength. Pain never destroyed me. It taught me. It taught me that nothing lasts forever, that every moment matters, and that true love never disappears. The room remains silent. Some people in the audience have tears in their eyes. A woman in the front row reaches for a tissue, dabbing at her face. Even those who don't know much about Keanu's life can feel the weight of his words. For the first time, the camera turns to Celeste. She looks slightly unsettled. The confident smile on her lips falters just for a second. There is something in her expression, surprise, maybe even a hint of regret. But Celeste is not one to give up. She straightens her shoulders, hiding any emotion that may have flickered across her face. Her fingers move over the question cards, ready for her next move. She still has one final trick up her sleeve, a question designed to strike Keanu where he least expects it. A question meant to make him look weak, to make him seem like he no longer belongs in Hollywood. The studio still feels heavy with emotion. The audience is quieter than before, some lost in thought, others holding back tears. But Celeste is ready. She flips through her cards, pretending to search, though she already knows what she will ask next. This time, she plans to hit Keanu where it will hurt the most. Celeste leans forward slightly. Her eyes narrow like a cat watching a mouse ready to pounce. But this time, her voice changes. It's no longer loud or pushy. Instead, it becomes smooth and careful, like she's setting a trap. Keanu, you're over 50 now. Hollywood doesn't care about older actors anymore. Aren't you scared of becoming unimportant? The audience reacts right away. Some people whisper in shock, others frown, uncomfortable with how direct the question is. But Keanu doesn't answer right away. He stays still, rubbing his fingers together gently, lost in thought. His eyes drift away as if he is looking at something far, far away, something only he can see. Celeste notices his pause and feels a little thrill inside. This was the moment she had been waiting for. Then Keanu lifts his eyes and looks straight at her. His face is calm, but there's something strong in his gaze, something no one expected. Celeste, have you ever seen a sunset? Celeste blinks. She wasn't expecting that. The audience looks confused. What does a sunset have to do with the question? Keanu continues, his voice soft but filled with meaning. The sunset is beautiful. But have you ever heard someone call it unimportant just because the night is coming? The room falls silent for just a moment. Then suddenly the audience bursts into applause. People cheer, shout, and clap loudly. Yes. Keanu, you're amazing. That's beautiful. Celeste sits still, her expression frozen for a second. She had lost control of the interview. Her practiced, polite smile fades, replaced by something else. Something more real. Maybe even a flicker of respect. Keanu didn't fight back. He didn't get mad. He simply answered in a way so beautiful and so true that no one could argue with it. Celeste takes a deep breath. She looks down at the cards in her hands, realizing she needs to change her strategy. If Keanu isn't afraid of becoming unimportant, maybe she can find something else to make him nervous. She decides to go deeper. The audience is still buzzing from Keanu's last response. People respect him more now. He hasn't just answered the questions. He has turned them into something meaningful. But Celeste isn't done. She feels the control of the interview slipping from her grasp, and it frustrates her. Her show is famous for making celebrities uncomfortable, for putting them on the spot. She needs to take back control. She picks up the next question card and holds it in her hands, thinking for a moment. But she already knows exactly what she's going to ask. She leans forward slightly, her voice steady but sharp. Keanu, you grew up without a father. Your mother worked hard to take care of you. Have you ever felt angry about that? The room tenses. The audience shifts uncomfortably. Some people frown, realizing what Celeste is trying to do. She's poking at an old wound. But Keanu doesn't flinch. He doesn't look surprised. He knew she would ask something like this. He takes a deep breath. Instead of looking at Celeste, his eyes wander off again, as if he is looking back at something from a long time ago. Then he smiles softly and says, "My father taught me something very important." Celeste blinks. That wasn't the response she expected. Keanu looks back at her and continues, his voice calm and steady. "He showed me the kind of man I didn't want to be. And my mother? She taught me how to survive." The room goes silent. A woman in the audience lets out a quiet sob. A few people exchange glances, touched by the simplicity and depth of Keanu's words. For the first time, Celeste hesitates. This interview was supposed to be a power play. She was supposed to be in control. But Keanu refuses to play by her rules. He doesn't get defensive, he doesn't lash out. Instead, he turns every hard question into a lesson, something meaningful. She flips through her cards again, her fingers slowly moving over the paper. Her strategies aren't working. But she still has one last move. She lifts her eyes to Keanu. This time, her expression isn't smug or sarcastic anymore. Something else. Something darker. If talking about his past wasn't enough, there might be only one thing left that could shake him. His own fear of death. The air in the studio feels heavier now, like something important is about to happen. The audience isn't just watching an interview anymore. They are witnessing something deeper, something real. Keanu Reeves has faced every question with an almost meditative calm. Even the toughest ones he has turned into something beautiful. But Celeste isn't done yet. Her mind races. Every calculated jab, every hidden trap, none of them have worked. She adjusts her blazer and sits up straighter. She has built her career on making even the most composed celebrities stumble. This is her last chance. This time there is no smirk on her lips. No fake politeness. She leans forward again just slightly. The movement is careful, deliberate. When she speaks, her voice is softer than before, but there's something sharp hidden inside. Keanu, don't you feel fear? The words hang between them, filling the still air. Time doesn't wait for anyone. Have you ever thought about what will happen when your time is up? The room is silent. No one moves. No one even breathes. This is different. This isn't about fame or movies or success. This isn't about public opinion or box office numbers. This is about something no one can escape. Keanu tilts his head slightly. He doesn't answer right away. He doesn't laugh it off. He doesn't deflect. Instead, he takes a deep breath, his expression unreadable. The audience watches him closely, waiting. For the first time in the interview, there is no sound, no whispering, no shifting in seats. Keanu Reeves is about to speak, and everyone is ready to listen. For the first time in the interview, everything is completely silent. Celeste holds her breath. The audience leans forward, waiting. Everyone is watching, listening. Then finally, Keanu speaks. Celeste, do you know the difference between fear and faith? Celeste blinks. She wasn't expecting that. She thought Keanu might try to defend himself. She thought he might avoid answering or give simple, practiced responses like other celebrities do. But this was something else. She presses her lips together. She looks down at the question cards in her hands. She flips through them quickly, searching for something, anything that might help her regain control. But suddenly the words on the cards feel empty, meaningless. Everything she had planned, the sharp angles, the clever tricks, the questions designed to make him uncomfortable, none of it matters anymore. Because this isn't a fight. Keanu has taken the series, structured interview she built and turned it into something different. Something deeper. Something she was not ready for. She thought she was in charge. She thought she was leading this interview. But now it doesn't feel like an interview anymore. It feels like a conversation about life itself. And suddenly, Celeste realizes something. There is one last question she needs to ask. A question that isn't about catching Keanu off guard. A question that isn't about making a headline. Something real. She takes a breath, lifts her eyes, and when she speaks again, her voice is barely a whisper. And what if no one remembers you when you're gone? The question is like a stone dropping into deep water. The weight of it fills the air. The audience barely breathes. For the first time in the entire interview, Keanu does not answer right away. The silence is heavier now. It stretches across the room, making everything feel still. This kind of question is meant to break a person, to expose a hidden fear, to make them confront something uncomfortable, the thought of being forgotten, of disappearing without a trace. But Keanu does not look shaken. He does not look afraid. Instead, he smiles softly. It is not a smirk. It is not the polished, practiced smile of a Hollywood actor. It is something else. Something real. He takes a breath, and when he speaks, his voice is as steady as ever. The question isn't what they will remember about me. He pauses. Just for a second. Just long enough to let the words settle in the air. The question is, what will they remember about you? A ripple moves through the audience. Some people gasp softly. Others lean back as if hit by something unexpected. A few glance at each other, eyes wide, as if they suddenly understand something they had never thought about before. For the first time, Celeste is the one being questioned. The camera zooms in on her face. Celeste Monroe, the journalist who built her career on asking the hardest questions, on making public figures uncomfortable, on tearing down powerful people, looks lost. Her lips part slightly like she wants to say something, but no words come out. Her fingers tighten around the question cards in her lap, but she does not look down at them, because for the first time in a long time she has no prepared answer, no perfect response, just silence. And then something unexpected happens. A single tear slips down Celeste's cheek. She does not wipe it away. The camera catches everything, the way her throat moves as she swallows, the way her breathing changes, the way her shoulders seem to sink as if something heavy has settled inside her. Keanu watches her, not with triumph, not with arrogance, not with amusement, but with understanding. Quiet, patient understanding. Then he stands up. The studio is different now. The energy has changed. There is no cheering, no excited clapping, just quiet. Some audience members wipe away tears. Others sit still, deep in thought. No one expected this. Celeste remains in her chair, unmoving. Her question cards, the ones she had used as her shield, her weapon, lie abandoned on the table before her. She does not reach for them. She does not need them anymore. Or maybe, for the first time, she realizes she never really did. The cameras are still rolling. The world is still watching. But Celeste is not thinking about the audience. She is not thinking about the show. She is not thinking about ratings, headlines, or what people will say after this interview airs. She is thinking about herself. Keanu's words echo in her mind. The question isn't what they will remember about me. The question is, what will they remember about you? Her reflection stares back at her from the glossy surface of the table. 4 years, she built her career with sharp words, relentless questions, and the belief that exposing others made her powerful. That making others uncomfortable gave her control. That uncovering secrets and weaknesses made her strong. But now, she isn't sure anymore. The screen fades to black. And then a final message appears. Life is not about how long we live, but about the impact we leave behind. Soft music plays in the background. The kind of music that makes people stop and think. If you enjoyed this story, share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories filled with adventure, mystery, and excitement. Your support means the world, and it helps keep these stories coming. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.